I don't know what the record is for the longest sustained email scambaiting effort, but this might be it. 90 days. A full 3 months of back and forth between the scammer and me. One reason it lasted so long is I was corresponding with a most unusual scammer. He was playing a long con, virtually unheard of for a prepaid fee scam. Usually the scam consists of, I've got millions of dollars that belong to you, tell me where to send it. Okay, now pay this small administrative fee. The end. But this guy took the time to build a relationship with his mark, a friendship even. It was extraordinary. As you'll see, this entire exchange took place shortly before the U.S. withdrew its troops from Afghanistan. By the way, times and dates of this collection of emails are impossible to follow because, one, I was corresponding with multiple entities, even though in reality I'm confident it was a maximum of 2 people. 2, Mr. Chen often sent a second email just a few minutes later, or 1 minute later, or at least once he sent them both within the same minute. 3, the other supposed entities, a delivery service and a customs office and a bank, often sent me the same email twice, sometimes 1 minute apart, sometimes several hours apart. 4, I'm in one time zone, which is reflected in the time and date indicated in my outbound emails. 5, the scammers are in a different time zone, where often they are a calendar day ahead of me. 6, sometimes their emails are timestamped with the time they sent it according to their local time. 7, sometimes their outbound emails are timestamped with my local time. 8, sometimes they're labeled with the time they reached my inbox, according to my time zone. And 9, to add to the confusion, often I was carrying on 2 separate but related email threads. If I simply share every message in the order it landed in my inbox or the order in which I sent it, we all will become hopelessly confused. So at times, I will shuffle the actual order of the emails to make it easier for you to follow all the goings-on that are going on. Don't let the lack of time and date continuity bother you. Just ignore the times and dates and enjoy this marathon encounter as it unfolds. It all began with a blind phishing email from MJ Kim Chang, although for some reason it was sent from the account of Estania de Lourdes Arevalo Torres. Hello, I do hope you are doing good and staying safe. I have been trying to reach out. Kindly get back to me when you can. Thanks in anticipation, MJ Kim Chang. And we're off. As I reply, hello, excuse me, I do not recall having met you. Did we meet at a conference or something? Please accept my apologies for not immediately recognizing your name. In sincerity, Rob, or as my friends call me, Rob McClen. That provokes the first of the familiar verbose copy and paste replies that explain MJ Chang actually is Major General Kim Chang, deployed to Afghanistan, an Asian American member of the U.S. Army and member of a Special Operations Group, SOG, which is a division in the United States Central Intelligence Agencies, and stuff about $1.6 million U.S. dollars that he has as a result of a crude oil business deal involving some top Afghan politicians' leaders. Naturally, the funds were packaged in a metallic box, also known as luggage, that he wants to have sent to me for safekeeping, and I can keep 40% of the money for my trouble. And if I accept this offer, he'll send me further information for us to proceed. Well, maybe, but first, hello, Kim. I glanced at your proposal, and it sounds very interesting. But before I examine it in detail and possibly help you with your project, I must figure out where I know you from. As you probably know, my well-publicized, to say the least, financial settlement with CTA resulted in my having more money in my retirement savings account than I ever would have imagined. By the way, I never decided what CTA represented. It might have been Chicago Transit Authority. I was trying to attract the scammer's attention to a potentially much larger payoff than he was looking for, an apparently huge amount of money that I had been awarded. But the accident itself resulted in a severe and permanent affliction of tired eye syndrome, and reading large blocks of text invariably leaves me with a headache like you wouldn't believe. So if you won't mind breaking up your future emails to me into much shorter paragraphs, that will help me more easily read what you have sent me. Anyway, I seem to associate your name with a conference I attended a few years ago, but I'm not sure which conference. If indeed it was a conference, maybe it was something else? Did we meet at the International Scholastic Society's annual conference at Hull, England, when it was held there some years ago? In fact, the more I think about it, the more I think you probably won the coveted International Zavaglione Ziaxanthin Yakuza Award, the IZZY, at that particular conference, definitely the one that was held in Hull, because I think I recall having a long conversation with you on the ferry ride to Glasgow. Was that you? I can tell from the clearly written treatise that comprised this latest email you sent me, complete with underscoring and even a line of bold type, that the issue you want us to discuss is serious, and once you've kindly confirmed precisely where it was we first met, I'm pretty sure it was in Hull, and if possible in what year we met, I'll then be able to turn my full attention to the important reason you have contacted me after all these years. I do apologize for my faulty memory, and I look forward to learning the details of your current project. Major Kim didn't seem to want to reminisce about the good old days in Hull. Somehow Major Kim interpreted my response as meaning I had made a final decision to help with this deal, because he said, "I appreciate your final decision to help with this deal. I want you to know that you won't have any regrets." Once again, permit me to introduce myself once again as Maj Gen Kim Cheng, deployed to Afghanistan. I am a Chinese American with original family roots to China. I am a U.S. Army mechanical engineer and member of a Special Operations Group, SOG, which is a division in the United States Central Intelligence Agencies located at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. I got your contact from Google Email Database Directory after an extensive search on the Internet. And you may be wondering why I chose to trust a delicate matter like this in the care of a stranger, but this is the best I can do in my present situation. I would have trusted this kind of project in the hands of my wife, who was my closest confidant, but I lost her to cancer. Well, that certainly is sad. And my only brother has ruined his life with hard drugs. Well, that's awful. And I also lost my parents in a car accident. Oh my God! When I was 7 years old back in China, where I was born and raised up by my adopted parents before moving to the USA with them, and my adopted parents are very old now, living in elderly people's homes. This is the reason why I decided to work with a neutral person if we could establish some trust between ourselves instead of confiding in my buddies back home so that this little secret can be preserved. That is a really, really sad story. I react with what I think is just the right amount of sympathy. Hello, Kim. I don't think you saw the most recent email I sent you, the one I sent about an hour before you sent your most recent email to me. In that email, I had explained that before we move forward with your project, I need your help in remembering where we have met before. In that same email, I also explained why my tired eye syndrome makes it very difficult for me to read large blocks of text and requested that your future emails use shorter paragraphs. I will reprint that email below. Would you please take a look at it and get back to me regarding where it was we met? I think it was at a conference in Hull, but I am not positive. And then I reprint that most recent email that apparently he has missed, and Major Kim responds. Sorry about that, but we haven't met before, and that's why I sent you an email of how and the reason why I chose to contact you for this deal. Please decide if you want to follow up or not, and I will nor force you to do so. Hello, Maj Gen Kim. Oh, how embarrassing. Your name is so familiar I could have sworn we had met before. I must have sounded like a lunatic talking about the ferry ride from Hull, etc. My only excuse is that several years ago, I was the victim of an industrial accident, and it left me with a permanent case of T.E.S. As a result, I am unable visually to process more than 2 or at most 3 lines of text in a single text block. A maximum of 2 lines is preferred, but I can process as many as 3 lines if necessary. Given your extraordinary service to the USA and Afghanistan, I am very interested to hear the details of your purpose. I was able to read about your service in the 3-line paragraph in which you introduced yourself again. If it is not too much trouble, please break up the large paragraph underneath my purpose contacting you into 1-line or 2-line paragraphs, or if necessary, 3 lines maximum per paragraph. I recognize that this is extra work for you, and I am embarrassed that my disability makes it necessary to ask you to break it up into 1-line, 2-line, or 3-line paragraphs with a space between each paragraph. If you decide you do not want to invest the extra time and effort necessary for me to be able to read your purpose, I will understand. I hope, however, you will find it in your heart to give me one more opportunity to learn the details of your purpose of contacting me. The opportunity to assist an honored U.S. Army Mage Gen who bravely fought in Afghanistan would be an honor to me if I have the ability to do so. If you do not have the time to break up that big paragraph into 1 line, 2 lines, or 3 lines, I realize that is my fault having this stupid T.E.S. I have no one to blame for that other than myself and CTA. Still, with luck, I hope it will not prevent me from assisting your purpose in any way I can. But if it does, I hope you will accept my apologies and know how grateful I am for your service to the U.S. military. In his reply, Major Kim says he appreciates my response, understands my condition, and will try to make things easier for me. And as you can see, he actually has reformatted his original purpose of contacting you to make it much easier to read, using a much larger font and shorter paragraphs. He explains that he cannot be able to handle this huge funds personal or move it to my account in the United States because our accounts are been monitored by the U.S. government. So the funds was packaged in a metallic box. Luggage. He desperately needs my assistance to help me evacuate the sum of $1.6 million US dollars, and for my assistance, I will receive 40% of the cash amount. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'll bet those funds are stolen and this entire scheme is dangerously risky. Well, I guess the joke's on you, because Major Kim assures me these funds are not stolen and there is no danger or risk involved. So, shame on you for being suspicious. Despite his reformatting of his email, much of it still was beyond the reading capability of a person suffering from T.E.S., but I did appreciate the effort. Hello, Madge Jen Kim. Thank you for your understanding of my T.E.S. condition. I was able to visually process only the first 2 lines of each of your paragraphs, so I'll respond to the parts I could read, but if there are some things you said that I'm not mentioning, then that's because they appeared in the 3rd or 4th or 5th, etc. line. Wow, $1.6 million US dollars from the oil business. That's great for a military personnel. Congratulations. I didn't know military personnel have to go through a probation period. Haven't you proven yourself enough by fighting to protect our country? I don't really get the part about the package. The explanation must have been in one of those 2 later sentences. Sorry. I would have been honored to assist you in evacuating the sum of $1.6 million US dollars, but I really wouldn't have any idea how to do that. I'm really sorry. Lastly, I'm sure your offer is of great appeal to me, if only I was able to read it all. But I'm honored that you thought of me for whatever it is you offered me to assist you with, and I so very much do wish I had the ability to do so. Major Kim responds with an email customized to accommodate my T.E.S. Notice both the 2-line paragraphs and his easy-to-read replies to the points I had raised. This doesn't count at all. I will send you more details after this mail. I will send you more details after this mail. He even asks, how can I make it possible for you to be able to read it all? I mean, this is the most thoughtful scammer I've ever encountered. And instead of signing off by telling me to send him money to cover the fees that undoubtedly will crop up, he ends by thanking me for agreeing to assist him. I was busy doing other things for the next week, and when I returned to our correspondence, a full week had passed. I felt kind of bad making him wait, so, hello, Mage Jen Kim. I deeply apologize for the time delay between your most recent email to me and this reply of mine to that email of yours. There was a sudden, unexpected death in my family, and I had to drive 1,250 miles to the funeral and then 1,250 miles back. In addition to the grief caused to me by the sudden bereavement, driving that far and then back took 6 full days for the driving alone. What made the trip especially long was that because of my T.E.S. that I believe I've told you about, I was unable to read many of the road signs and got pretty lost several times. Fortunately, I have a mobile phone that actually will speak the driving directions to you. Once I figured out how to make the speaking directions work, it became much easier not to become lost quite so often. In using the speaking directions, I discovered something quite interesting. With my mobile phone's speaking directions, they give you several different voices to choose from to speak the directions. At first, it was a woman who sounded nice enough, not the pushy kind, if you know what I mean. Then I changed it to a man's voice, who clearly had made this driving trip before and gave very good directions. That is when I made the discovery that the man in the mobile phone gives much better directions than the woman. I guess maybe there's some truth in the old proverb about men being better drivers than women. Anyway, that is why suddenly you didn't hear from me for more than a week. To make things even worse for me, on Tuesday, I have to be in the hospital for a surgical procedure that is kind of scary. My doctor has discovered I have a rare kind of melanoma called spindle cell, which is very rare. That's what the surgery will be about. So if you don't hear back from me for a few days, that will be why. The type of melanoma I have is very rare, and I hope the surgical doctors can fix it. But that's enough about me. In your most recent email, before my trip for the funeral, you asked, how can I make it possible for you to be able to read it all? The only way for me to read anything altogether is if it is in sentences that don't take more than 2 lines. And one line, like this one, is even better. I hope that answers your question, which I'm pretty sure was the only one you asked in that email. But apparently Major Kim misunderstands the state of my medical condition. Hope you are doing great. It's good to hear from you, and I am glad that you are healed now. I will try as much as I can to make the message easier for you to read, hoping to hear from you soon. Notice that we've been corresponding for nearly 3 weeks, and he still hasn't done anything to pressure me or even to ask for money. I check in with Major Kim 3 days later. I am certain that before I went to the hospital, I received from you a second email in which you kindly broke up your message into 1 line or 2 lines because of my T.E.S., but I have searched my emails and cannot find it at all. I am wondering if I just dreamed that when I was made unconscious at the hospital for the surgery. Did I just dream it? Or did you send me another email broken up into 1 line or 2 lines? I am sorry to appear so disorganized and confused. I have been sleeping a lot and taking many pain-killing medications since I got home from the hospital. Maybe that is slowing down my brain too much. Please let me know. In reality, I'm certain he did send me such an email, but I can't locate it. Once again, Major Kim reassures me, I understand your situation, and I will try as much as I can to make the message easier for you to read. But I'm still trying to find the message that I'm certain he sent me. Am I correct in remembering that you had sent me a detailed message that used only 1 line or 2 line sentences? Because I can't find it on my computer, I'm wondering if I dreamed it while I was unconscious at the hospital. If you actually did send such an email, please resend it so I will have the pleasure of reading it. If you did not actually send me such an email, and I imagined it while unconscious at the hospital, please do not use up all the energy to create such a message. You have been so understanding of my situation, and I do not want to create even more needless work for you. Major Kim responds by sending something that isn't the email I'm talking about. Most of the paragraphs contain more than 3 lines. Look at that bottom paragraph. How is a guy suffering from T.E.S. supposed to read that? For the first time, Major Kim asks for my personal info. I ignore that request because, T.E.S. Oh, and without any explanation, he attaches a photo of his U.S. passport. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to track down that mysteriously missing communique. Thank you for sending me that earlier detailed email, but that is not the one I was referring to. You had asked me in one of our emails that occurred earlier, how can I make it possible for you to be able to read it all? And I had answered you by saying, the only way for me to read anything altogether is if it is in sentences that don't take more than 2 lines. And 1 line, like this, is even better. That is because of my T.E.S. I truly and honestly thought you then had so generously sent me your purpose of contacting you, all broken up into paragraphs of no more than 2 lines. But I must have hallucinated that email while I was heavily medicated at the hospital, which I think I mentioned earlier. That memory of such an email from you seems so real, but apparently, as I am told they say in the Netherlands, it was not reality, but instead nothing but the leaves of the wind. After everything you have been through, losing your brother to hard drugs and your wife to death, as well as the car accident that forever deprived you of your parents when you were only 7 years old, I have no right to expect you to reformat your purpose to only 1 or 2 or 3 lines per paragraph. I absolutely 100% understand if you do not have time for such seeming nonsense, and I don't blame you. You have been through so much, and I do not desire to add to your burden. I truly, truly would wish to assist you in everything I can. Because of this stupid T.E.S., however, I am unable to decipher what to my eyes are such long paragraphs. Here, by the way, is an example of a paragraph I was able to read because it was only one line. I want to know if you are willing to follow up this business seriously. I am desperately serious about wanting to help you with whatever this business is, but unless it is presented in 1 or 2 or 3 line paragraphs, it is simply a real fact that I am unable to understand what it says. Major Kim is paying attention to what I say and trying to make it as easy as possible for me to become an unwitting mark. Take a look at his reply. He has gone to the trouble of making every paragraph no more than 3 lines. This is extraordinary. When have you ever seen a scammer be so attentive to his intended victim? I express my appreciation and, of course, have a few questions. Hello, Mage Gen Kim. Thank you so much for converting your message to 1, 2, or 3 line paragraphs. Now at last I can read every important word you have written. Actually, there were a few places that had more lines of text than I could visually process, but I am almost 100% certain that I now understand at least 80% of your newest communication. I will reprint some of the things that were questions you were asking me, with each one followed by my answer. And now I quote his individual questions and explanations. I have made all the necessary arrangements, and you don't have to worry or bother about anything. All I need from you is to just be the end receiver. And I reply, okay, I can do that. I want to know if you are willing to follow up this business seriously. Absolutely, especially now that I know what it is. Furthermore, I would like to remind you that this transaction is legal and risk-free. Question, I know you are in Afghanistan, I think. I assume some of their laws are different from America's. With the recent change in political vessels in the USA, just recently there have been some new laws put into law regarding delivery of funds from countries outside of North America. The new laws are so new that I think you should check with your delivery company and just come right out and ask them. 1, are you, the delivery company, of course, 100% compliant with all Department of Homeland Security rules, including DHS Management Directive MD 11042? That one is very new. 2, are you compliant with the new TSA rules? 3, has your company formally joined the FDA's import program via the FDA e-submitter? Those are real things, by the way, although I'm not sure why they would need to use the Food and Drug Administration's e-submitter. Again, Mage Gen Kim, these are not questions I'm asking you. Obviously, as both a U.S. Army officer and member of SOG, you keep up to date with all applicable laws. Those 3 questions are for the delivery company, just to be sure. Major Kim had said, I have a very good, trusted, and reliable high-level private delivery contact used mostly by our forces and top governmental bureaucrats in Iraq, Jordan, and Middle East. Uh-oh, this might be a problem. I come right out and ask. The private delivery contract is not Blackwater, is it? As much as I am enthusiastic to work with you on this unique project, I will not have anything to do with Blackwater, of which all Americans are painfully ashamed. While I do not need to know the name of the reliable high-level private delivery contact we will be using, I must ask for your assurance that it 100% absolutely is not Blackwater. Am I right? Once again, I am asked for my personal information, full names, contact address, confidential telephone fax numbers including mobile and cell numbers, occupation, any proof of identification, and I reply, I absolutely and without question understand your need for the information you requested about myself, and I am happy to provide it to you without hesitation. The only problem is I can't just put the information you need into a regular email such as this one. Please do not worry. This is a problem we can easily overcome. It doesn't need to be any kind of obstacle to our mutual goals. You see, when you send a regular email such as this one, cyber criminals in the dark web can see every word you write. They can even see these words I am writing to you right now, which is why I'm being careful not to say anything confidential. The number one thing that police and experts warn us against is sending personal information in an unprotected email. I read 3 different articles that gave that warning in just the past week in 3 different publications, Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, and OK Boomer, and all 3 say the same thing. Put your personal information, Social Security, bank details, etc., only in a password-protected, secure PDF file. That way, the only people who can see that information are the people who have the password. How do you get the password? It's really easy. Put all of the information you need answered into a PDF, give it a password, and send it to the other person. Let that other person know what the password is, and then they can open the PDF, provide all the necessary information that you need, close up the PDF using the same password, and then email it back to you. Even if a criminal stole your entire email, they wouldn't be able to see what's in the PDF because they won't know the password. That's the secret. Probably you already know all of this and know how to send me a PDF listing the information you need from me protected by a password. In fact, the very idea of my explaining technical internet things to a SOG member must appear ridiculous to you. So if you could send me those questions in a secure PDF file, I will give you the full information and return to you soonest. I'm caught off guard by Major Kim's declaration that I'm not ready to tolerate any form of dishonesty from your end. And I tell him, I have never been dishonest in my life. Surely you are not suggesting I have been dishonest, are you? If we cannot trust each of us and each other, then we are doomed to failure. Do I have that trust from you? I need a partner who will not attempt to extort and blackmail me. I reply, I have never been caught and convicted of any crime of extorting and or blackmailing. Who has been putting such ideas in your head about me? Assuming we can ignore any false accusations people have made about me, if you could clear up those few above details and then send me the password-protected PDF, we will be able to act immediately. P.S. You also said, you know that security is very important. You cannot trust anybody, therefore remember to keep it secret. Rest assured that the only person I have mentioned this to is my beloved wife, Marianne, and she has well learned to keep her mouth shut in private matters. Don't worry about her. Maj Kim addresses my questions and concerns forthrightly. Thank you so much. It's always good to hear from you. I will go straight by answering your questions right under the question. My answer reply will be in bold letters. He assures me that he is aware that some of Afghanistan's laws are different from America's laws, and that he's aware of the new laws in the USA, and that everything is copacetic regarding the new Department of Homeland Security, TSA, and FDA rules. Surprisingly, he appears never to have heard of Blackwater and asks if I have had any bad experience with them. My concerns about the vulnerability of private information sent via regular email are well understood, and my comments about the dark web are very true and no doubts at all. It won't be a problem for him to send me a secure PDF to protect my information, and in response to my taking umbrage at the hint of a suggestion that I have been dishonest, he assures me, no, you have not been dishonest, and this wasn't meant that way. I was speaking in general. Please, I am sorry if you got offended, and that he gives me his word that I can trust him, and that he doesn't doubt me, and no one has been telling him bad things about me, and again he apologizes if his message didn't come through the way he intended. I reply, thank you for putting my mind to ease about the private delivery contact we'll be using. You asked if I had a bad experience with Blackwater. I did not personally, but because they represent my country, I am ashamed to be associated in any way with them. Basically, Blackwater, which since has changed its name due to the scandals, is a private military company, which is another way of saying they employ mercenaries to do evil things that the U.S. government does not do. In 2007, some of its employees who supposedly were helping to keep the peace in Iraq killed 17 innocent Iraqi civilians. 3 Blackwater employees were convicted of manslaughter, and 1 was convicted of murder. To the shock of many Americans, a former U.S. president pardoned them all. He pardoned war criminals. I also am reassured to hear that your delivery company is up to date with the latest DHS, TSA, and FDA regulations. From what I hear, a shocking percentage of delivering companies doesn't even know how to use the FDA e-submitter. Again, thank you for putting me to rest regarding the various issues I raised in my previous email. My explanation appears to have jarred his memory. It's good to hear from you, and I am glad that your mind is at ease. Blackwaters, now I remember them. It's a company that the government uses to handle illegal dealings. That aside, looking forward to doing this deal with you, and I trust you enough to keep it confidential and private. I'm still uncomfortable with this entire Blackwaters business. The government uses Blackwater to handle illegal dealings? That is, I must say, shocking. Doesn't a government work to serve the people in its country and not to be found in the company of such a disgrace? Which government are we talking about, the one that associates with Blackwater? The subject changes, at least for the moment, when Major Kim sends me the long-awaited PDF file, but he seems to have forgotten something. Hello, Major Kim. Thank you for sending me the PDF document as I had requested. The document did not come, however, with the necessary password for me to open it. Would you please send me the password so we can move forward? Major Kim replies, This is the password, Alpha90. So sorry, I thought you would understand. Oh, my sincerest apologies. I did see Alpha90 at the bottom of your earlier email, but I didn't realize it was the password. In my business experience, passwords are sent separately from the locked file. That does not mean the way we do it is right. That is just our custom. I should have figured out that was the password. Looking backward, in hindsight, it seems so obvious that I am embarrassed by my failure to understand what that was. I will go put that password in now, open the file, fill in the information, and return it to you without further delay. Major Kim seems pleased. I am glad you get the document. Please, I will be waiting for the details to proceed. Now I have a problem. Although the file he sent me probably is nothing more than what it purports to be, a password-protected PDF file, I'm not going to take any chances by opening it. So I have smallpdf.com take a look at it for me, and I see it looks harmless. But I'm sure it's possible to create a file that looks harmless but contains some sort of mischief-making code, so I'm still not going to actually open the PDF file. So I tell him, for some reason, I am unable to open the PDF file you sent me. When I try to open it, I get this message, and I include a screenshot of a generic error message. The neighbor next door to me on my right wasn't home, so I called the neighbor across the street who I really don't know, but often when we're both outside we exchange mutual hellos, explained the problem, and asked if I could try it on his computer. He said I guess so I copied the PDF onto a tiny little flash drive that fits into my pocket and went over to his house. We then copied that copy of the PDF onto his computer. I explained that to open it, I would need to use a secret password which, for security reasons, he couldn't see, and he turned his back for a moment so he wouldn't be able to see the computer. But I never got the chance to use the secret password because on his computer, every time I tried to open it, I got this message. And I include yet another generic error message. Either the PDF you sent me was damaged during the emailing process, or I guess the only other explanation is that some sort of mistake was made when creating the PDF. Or maybe there's some other reason I can't think of because I'm not at all very technical, to say the least. Would you please ask whoever created that PDF to make another one, either with the same password or with a different one? Sometimes with computers, things just seem to happen for no good reason, and we never find out why. Probably that will be the case here too, and the second time, everything will go fine. Major Kim is both sympathetic and concerned about security. I am so sorry for the stress you are going through because of me. Do you think it is safe to try and open this file at your neighbor's computer? I am sure you are aware that this transaction has to be kept secret. Anyways, I just created another fill, accessible with the same password attached to this mail. Hello, Mage Kim. I can understand why attempting to use my neighbor's computer to open the PDF might seem to possibly breach the secrecy of our arrangement. Although I was careful to have him turn around when I entered the private password, for all I know, he could have one of those softwares that keep track of each letter you type on your computer, or maybe secretly copy the PDF even if I think it has been permanently deleted. From now on, I will use only my computer and not even my wife's computer. I do have some bad news. The second PDF you sent me won't open, and gives me that same operating error message. Is there some other safe way of sending the necessary information to me? Major Kim is remarkably patient as he explains, I am so sorry. It seems there might be some issue with your computer. If you can, do send me the details in a passworded file and send it to me. Okay, I can do that, but I'm still worried about something. Oh, okay, I should be able to do that and send it to you. There is one thing that concerns me, and that thing is Blackwater. You said the government uses Blackwater to handle illegal dealings. Which government are you referring to? I could not differentiate from your earlier message which government has such loose morals as to get in bed, figuratively speaking, with Blackwater. Whichever government it is, it sounds as though they are very open about the fact that they do illegal dealings and don't even try to hide it at all. Quite the opposite, it appears they allow it to be public knowledge that they do illegal things, and they do it with Blackwater. I know, because you have told me, that Blackwater is not the delivery company we shall be using, which reassures me greatly, but I must admit to the awareness of some fear that has entered our agreement. Please elucide me which government has such low morals and what protections we have in place to insulate our actions from their very wrong actions. While I await your response, I will start working on the passworded PDF file in order to rush it to you quickly. A short time later, I make good on my promise. I have attached a password-protected PDF with the information you need. The only thing I didn't know what to do about was any proof of identification. I have lived here practically my entire life, and everyone around here knows who I am without needing an ID from me. Of course, I must have a birth certificate, but the last time I saw it was a long time ago. Also, the one thing I remember them telling us at the Lake Wales Senior Safety System was never to send my ID to anyone on the internet. Obviously, they didn't mean you, but they made us all promise. They also did a different day that was all about keeping safe from being pickpocketed, but I've never heard of anyone around here being pickpocketed in the first place, which makes me think maybe our police are a bit more overly cautious than they should be. Because you and I have gotten to know each other so well, can we just skip the any proof of identification part? I will send you the password in a separate email. P.S. Did you see my new question about Blackwater and the government? I do not wish to buzz like a mosquito about my Blackwater fears, but I do want us to be extra safe with security. Shortly thereafter, I follow up with the secret password, 389I 9470 53895 9I 9934 2IO 6882. And I explain that number at the top of this message is the password for that document we have been discussing. Actually, those are the correct characters that make up the password, but they shouldn't work. My plan was for Major Kim to report that the password doesn't work, and I in turn would explain that to frustrate any cyber criminals who happen to be lurking about, I mixed up the order of the digits and letters. But either he was able to open the file without the password, or he never even bothered to try. Soon he replies, I just can't thank you enough for taking out the time to help in this deal. And yes, indeed, I can say that you are a reputable and trustworthy person. This transaction with you will be very well handled without me having any fear of nonchalant behaviors from your end. I will start the documentation process and keep you posted. Please be aware that I trust you, and I know that you will keep this transaction confidential and private, just between the both of us. Please keep staying safe and healthy. Hello, Mage Jen Kim. Thank you for determining that I am a reputable and trustworthy person. That means a lot to me, given your experience in the world and as a military officer. I have never been in any military, but I have to assume that to succeed in such conditions, you must be a very good judge of character. Obviously, if you are trapped in a wolf's dugout only with men you probably don't know very well, the ability to judge trustworthiness can be the difference between life and death, to say the least. As we are almost done with this complicated transaction, I find myself becoming a certain amount of sad. That is how much I have enjoyed our ease of communication and mutual respect. How soon do you expect the $1.6 million US will arrive on my doorstep? Rest assured that your 60% will remain untouched until you instruct me how to get it to you. I am hoping it will be before the end of next week, inasmuch as there are some things I haven't mentioned that some of my 40% would be quite useful for. Major Kim replies the next day with a cheery, "Hello! Compliments of the day. I hope you are doing good and in good health. I must apologize for my silence for the past 48 hours. It's as a result of my duty over here. I was assigned in the field for the past hours and just got back to base 2 hours ago. Meanwhile, hope all is well. As regards your concern on Blackwater, I suggest that we have this discussion in person because this is a classified subject and I will not like to indulge in such conversation via email. Moreover, the government doesn't not allow public knowledge of their dealings. I am able to know about TIT because of my position in the military. I will speak no more about this for now. But I need to know which government he's referring to. I understand your cautiousness in conducting any conversations about BR. My only question at this time, however, is simply which country's government uses them, even though I am not naming them. You can feel Major Kim's discomfort. The United States government, Russian government. Please, we are not talking about this anymore. I am sorry. No wonder he didn't want to discuss Blackwater. My goodness, mum's the word. Please stay safe in this world where treachery can be lurking in the least expected places. Major Kim responds with a resigned world weariness. Well, yeah, that's how it is. We will talk more about this when we finally meet in person. And Major Kim explains what proof of identity is. Proof of identity means ID card or driver's license. For instance, mine is attached to this mail, and he attaches a copy of his passport. To which I reply, please excuse my lack of clarity regarding what means proof of identity. I do understand what you mean. At the moment, I do not have a driver's license. It is a long story why not, and I will greatly spare you all the details. But I can tell you that the police in this area have absolutely no sense of humor at all, not even when seeing a dog in the driver's seat of a moving automobile, at less than 15 miles per hour. And I don't know where my birth certificate is. I did find in my wallet a copy of a college ID card from when I took some adult courses in rhyming. That was a few years ago, and the card has faded a lot from being in my wallet so long. The card expired in 2003, but it is an ID. I hope this will be acceptable. And I attached the lowest resolution image I can create. Fortunately, that appears to be just fine for Major Kim. Hello, compliments of the day. Thanks, and I understand very well. This ID is okay, and will proceed with the process. Hello, Madge Jen Kim. I am relieved that the ID I sent you is sufficient for our purposes. Even though it was years ago that I attended as a student, it is an excellent college that I highly recommend to anyone interested in studying what the school teaches. My memories of that institution are so warm that I could not bring myself to remove the ID from my wallet, even though it expired long ago. The ID, I mean. I am confident that now the process can only go smoothly because we have taken such care to prepare properly. As a U.S. Army officer, you must be more familiar than most of us are with the traditional U.S. Army slogan, "Take care to prepare." Although I never have served in the military, I have watched many exciting movies about World War II, and have learned by watching that failure to plan usually results in having no plan at all. Working with you has been such a pleasure that after our successful completion of this complex operation, I hope I will again have the opportunity to work with you on some equally compelling future project in the future. I wasn't particularly surprised when Major Kim told me an unexpected delivery fee suddenly had cropped up, but I was surprised when he explained he paid that extra fee himself. Dear partner, compliments of the day, and how are you doing today? I want to inform you that the consignment has been airlifted a couple of hours ago by the United Nations Task Force handling all recovered properties to New Delhi, India, from where they will be sorted out and sent to their destinations. It was an unexpected development in delay. The agent has assured me that every item will reach their respective destinations if they were duly entered into the data system at the Joint Military Depot here in Afghanistan. It is from the UN airbase in New Delhi, India, that the package will be airlifted to, and when you contact them, they will only do a little verification of the consignment and delivery information. The agent informed me that you will be contacted by the dispatch department by mail or phone as soon as you get in contact with them. The private high-level delivery service handling team has its headquarters located in London, UK, and you must contact their agent at the branch office in Asia, New Delhi, India. Please keep me informed of all communication and dealings as they arise. I have already paid for the delivery fee, which amounted to almost $18,670 US, which is meant for insurance flight handling charges, UN Air Force flight handling charges as well. Please, when you contact them, be rest assured that there is nothing to worry about. It is a normal verification procedure. Everything depends on you to have the consignment delivered to you safely. It is documented in your name. Don't fail to make sure after taking your percentage you endeavor to keep mine very safe. If for any reason there is a need to reconfirm the content of the consignment, you are to inform the handling company that the consignment contains family valuables, as recorded here in Afghanistan. Most importantly, you must let the company know that the consignment is needed urgently at your location and must be shipped to you as soon as possible. You know we cannot afford to leave the consignment with them for too long. I expect to hear from you immediately when this arrives. Note, you are to contact the agent now who will make the delivery of the consignment to you, and his details are shown below. So please send an email to him immediately and let him know you are the beneficiary of the consignment containing family properties. And there is a long registration number I should cite, I assume. And there's information about the high-level private delivery service, shipping agency, and dispatch director, whose name is Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo, and there is an email address. There is a key and also secret combination code numbers required to open the box. I will be sending the key separately to you through DHL as soon as the package reaches you. Please be informed that the agent, Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo, does not have this code for security reasons. I will advise you never to give it to anyone. You will use this code to open the package immediately the agent delivers the package to you. Note, attached to this email is a scanned copy of the certificate of deposit, and you are required to forward it to the delivery company as proof that you are the legal and rightful beneficiary of the package. Endeavor to contact him immediately, as I was supposed to have sent his contact information hours ago, but I have been very busy. Have a great day. And here's the certificate of deposit, which obviously is genuine. Although I hadn't realized that Defense Postal Courier Services are a member of FDIC. You can't get much safer and genuine than that. Hello, Mage Gen Kim. Thank you for updating me so thoroughly with the update about what is happening with the consignment. I am surprised that first it was sent to New Delhi, India, which isn't really on the route to here. But I guess that's the military for you, always doing things their way, even if they don't make sense to civilians like me. I hope the dispatch department contacts me by phone rather than by postal mail, because postal mail can be very slow in my country these days. Now, that was a bit of attempted misdirection. I didn't want to speak to them on the phone, and I figured that soon I would have to concoct excuses for not being available via telephone. So I went out of my way to express my preference for a phone call to lessen any suspicion they might later have about not being able to reach me by phone. Returning to my emailed reply, I guess I will just have to wait and see, but my anticipation builds. I will keep you informed of all communication and dealings as they arise. Do you want me to CC, copy, or BCC, blind, copy, you on my emails to the delivery service? Thank you very much for paying the almost $18,670 US delivery fee, which includes insurance, flight handling charges, and UN Air Force flight handling charges as well. Needless to say, once the $1.6 million US is delivered to me, I immediately will reimburse you every penny you paid for the delivery fee. I promise to keep your percentage very safe. It will be here whenever it is convenient for you to collect it, or if you prefer, for me to send it to you, wherever you happen to be in the world. Finally, I will attempt my best to remember to include in my email to the agent the scanned copy of the certificate of deposit, which I am grateful to you for sending to me. I will contact the agent right away. Please remember to let me know if you want to be CC'd or BCC'd on any future communications to him. I must say it is rather exciting to be completing this delivery after all this time in which we carefully planned everything that must be done. I could not have done it without you. Hello, dear partner. I just can't thank you enough for how matured and diligent you are following all due process of this deal. Yes, please, you can go ahead and CC or BCC copies as you wish. I know that I can trust you, and the package will be in good, safe hands. Yes, I had to take out some cash to clear all that fees as requested. Thanks once again. You see how much time he's putting into building my trust in him? Eventually, he'll be asking me for money, and it's a safe bet the amount will be considerably less than $18,000. If he kicked in $18,670 of his own money without hesitation or complaint, the law of reciprocity should increase the pressure on me to contribute some much smaller amount later on. By the way, we haven't yet reached the part that will tug at your heartstrings, the dramatic centerpiece of this extended correspondence. Now, however, it's time for me to get in touch with the high-level delivery service. Hello, Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo. I am writing to you upon instructions from Mage Gen Kim Chang, with whom I believe you are familiar. The topic is a certain consignment that is to be delivered to me by your company, which is documented in my name. Please note that the consignment is urgently needed at my location and must be shipped to me as soon as possible, as I am the beneficiary of the consignment containing family properties. This special identifying number should assist you in identifying the consignment to be delivered. Registration number, and there's the long number. Finally, I am attaching to this email a scanned copy of the certificate of deposit as proof that I am the legal and rightful beneficiary of the package. Thank you for your kind and prompt assistance in this matter. High-level delivery service now joins the discussion. Attention beneficiary. Greetings. This is to inform you that we have received your mail. We have confirmed your legality, that you are indeed the rightful beneficiary of the package, and be aware that your package will probably be arriving India tomorrow from Afghanistan. As soon as it arrives, we will proceed immediately to claim your consignment package from the Air Force headquarters here in New Delhi, India, and be aware that it will take 48 hours for us to conclude the process and commence delivery. Please make available a valid telephone number that we can reach you. The reason why we thought of calling for verbal confirmation of your details before delivery, please try to be available, and yes, we will work according to your availability, because this package is a highly valued diplomatic delivery package, and we won't want to make any mistakes. Please be aware that we will not be able to deliver to any other address other than the address we have on the certificate or ownership. We will appreciate your urgent reply. 10 hours later, they send me the same message, which I point out to them in my reply. Today I have received one email from you 2 times, but I will reply only to this one. This reply also can be used for the second one if necessary. My telephone number is, and there's a telephone number. I will attempt to be available for your telephone call, but it is possible that when you call, I will be busy attending to a somber family obligation involving the sudden and unexpected death of a loved one. If you call when I am not at the telephone, please leave a message on the recording I have for that purpose, and I will hear your call and respond as promptly as possible. Earlier that morning, I received another cheerful, friendly, trust-building email from Mage Kim. Hello, dear partner. Compliments of the day. Hope you had a good and amazing weekend. I really want to appreciate you for your relentless effort to assist me on this great deal. I am very sure that you will handle the package very well and with great privacy confidentiality. I know that indeed I can trust you. Thanks once again. Alas, that was shortly after tragedy struck, and it was my sorrowful task to share the news with him. Hello, partner. Thank you for inquiring about my weekend, which was good and amazing, until suddenly my longtime pet and most faithful companion Spotty fatally succumbed to the heat and died. As you may have heard, we are experiencing a terribly hot heat wave like you wouldn't believe. I tried to keep Spotty inside the house, which has air conditioning and much less heat than the outside, but he stubbornly insisted on frolicking outside underneath the hot sunshine until the overheating overcame his life force. As a result, it has been very sad here today, as I made arrangements for Spotty's final resting place. Just picking out a tombstone that I think he would have liked took almost all day. I will try to send you a photograph of it. I had no idea a burial for my dog would be so expensive. You're probably wondering, how expensive do I mean? When everything is added up, it's almost $4,000, and that doesn't include the rabbi's fee, which makes the amount of money even bigger. Because I have been mourning the loss of my dog and also making arrangements for his burial, all other works and obligations of mine for today have made no progress. That is why it has taken me so long to reply to your most recent email, for which I apologize. I, too, appreciate your relentless effort to help carry this great deal across the finish line. We are almost there. I will let you know as soon as the package is delivered here. Please do not be surprised if I use some of my portion to purchase for you a small thank you gift in recognition of our friendship. P.S. I'm attempting to reply to each of the emails in the pile of emails that have piled up today while I was attending to a personal affair involving the unexpected death of a beloved family member in the order they arrived in my email box. It is possible, however, that the order of the emails will become confused, in which case you might wonder, why is Rob answering my second email before answering my first one? I do apologize for any confusion that might arise from this weekend's unfortunate event. How would you expect your typical advance fee scammer to respond? Major Kim shocks me with the degree of his sympathy. Hello, dear partner. It's so unfortunate to hear what has happened to you. I can only imagine what you are going through at this moment. I just want you to know that when someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure, and words fall short of expressing my sorrow for your loss. Please do take all the time you need. I understand the situation you are going through at this moment. I pray that your heart and soul will find peace and comfort during this difficult time. He doesn't even mention the money. He's doing his best to continue to earn my trust and also to obligate me to reciprocate with such understanding at a future date. He's playing a long con. 15 minutes later, I receive a message from High-Level Delivery Service. Attention beneficiary. This is to inform you that we have received your mail, and we will communicate with you via telephone or email as soon as the package reaches on transit for delivery to your country before delivery is made. Be aware that your package will be arriving India today from Afghanistan, and as soon as it arrives, we will proceed immediately to claim your consignment package from the Un-Air Force headquarters here in New Delhi, India, and be aware that it will take 48 hours from now for us to conclude process and the proceed to the airport to commence delivery. We are very saddened to hear of your loss, and we sincerely sympathize with you. Meanwhile, it's okay if you are not available to take calls due to the situation in your family. We will be patient. And 1 minute later, I receive a second copy of that same message, and I respond to it. I did not mean to suggest I absolutely would not be available for incoming telephone calls. I just wanted to alert you to the fact that, due to circumstances, it's possible that you will call at a time when I am not able to converse at that moment, and that if that occurs, please do leave a voicemail message that I shall hear as soon as possible, and if so desired, to call you back. So please do not hesitate to telephone me so that we can conclude the ultimate delivery of the package. Also, thank you for your kind sympathies regarding the personal situation which unexpectedly has befallen my family and me. They assure me that we definitely do understand, and we will put a call across to you accordingly. And now I have time for a longer, more personal response to Major Kim. Hello, Mage Gen Kim. Thank you for your kind understanding. Some people would have difficulty comprehending how the loss of a pet can be the cause of such sorrow. To them, an animal is just an animal. But in the end, aren't we all? To be fair, as much as I miss him already, I must admit that Spotty bears at least some, if not all, of the responsibility for his own death. Although this part of the country is known for its hot weather, as well as its citrus, we never have experienced weather temperatures as high as it has been this month. On the internet, I saw someone say that pets should stay indoors during this heat wave, as it is known around here, because the outside heat is so hot that it could be fatal to pets and to babies. Not having a baby, that was one thing I didn't have to worry about, but I did have a pet, and I was quite firm in refusing to allow him to go outside during this hot weather. I'm not even sure how he got out of the house, because I had put the safety latch on the doggy door, not really a door, but kind of a flap built into the bottom of a door. A neighbor of mine to the right side of my house told me he had seen the dog that lives with the other neighbor of mine on the other side in my backyard sniffing around the outside of the doggy door. That neighbor's dog is a pit bull, which is a very large, mean breed of dog. Spotty was kind of small and always maintained a sweet disposition. I don't see how a pit bull could have somehow caused the doggy door to open from the outside, so I am not necessarily accusing that dog of being involved in Spotty's fatalistic exposure to the intense heat. But that dog certainly is mean enough if he had the ability to do it. I'm sure that pit bull is mean because of his upbringing, so probably I should be more understanding, but I cannot shed myself of those suspicions about him. Meanwhile, you are 100% correct about a dead loved one becoming a memory. Already I remember Spotty, so in that way he still is with me every day, just not actually alive. And that does offer a measure of soothing solace, for which I am grateful. Major Kim continues to respond as a concerned and trusted friend, again with no mention of the money he wants to steal from me. Dear friend and partner, compliments of the day to you. I received your BCC mail showing the correspondence between you and the delivery team, and thank you so much for the update and for your willingness to handle this transaction in good faith. I really do appreciate everything you have done towards the success of this transaction. I also am trusting in you to keep this package safe and secured until I am out of here in due time. Listen, you have to trust and believe me, please. I want you to have a positive mindset towards this deal, and at the end, you will be very grateful to yourself that indeed you trusted me and assisted me with this deal. I greatly appreciate you for not giving up on me on this project, and I think it's time to at least let you in on something about me, which I will be sharing with you via this email attachment, my kids and adopted parents. I trust you enough, and I want you to trust me too. Once again, sorry for your loss. Do keep me in your prayers. Have a great day. And he attaches 7 photographs of himself, his family, and his workplace. And I thank him and compliment his family. Thank you for sharing with me the photographs of your beautiful family. Your email and these photographs add so much light to my day. Now something a little strange occurs. He sends me 2 emails within the same minute. Dear friend and partner, thanks, and I appreciate all the follow-up emails. Have a great day. And, dear friend and partner, compliments of the day. Thanks for the compliments about my family. It's always good to hear from you, and I am indeed looking forward to establishing a healthy friendship with you. Anyways, I just got back from patrol for a little break and thought of checking my mail. Thank you so much for the update and reassuring me that I can trust you. I feel right inside me that you are indeed someone to be trusted. All I need for now. Just a few days ago, there was an attack, and we have been alerted. I have to go now with the patrol team and sometime again. Have a great day. Because Major Kim is practically a member of my family now, it seems entirely appropriate to share with him this personal tidbit. We have not yet held the memorial service, but I thought I would send you this photograph of Spotty's headstone. As you can see, it still needs to be sunk into the ground, but this is what it looks like. I know, I get choked up seeing that headstone too. Once again, I received 2 responses from Major Kim within the same minute. I can indeed relate with you because I love pets too. Have a great day. And, this is so cute. I appreciate you for putting so much effort. Have a great day. Meanwhile, high-level delivery service was having trouble reaching me by phone. This is to inform you that we put a call across to you twice yesterday, but unfortunately we weren't able to reach you. A voice message left behind. Please be informed that your package has arrived in India and is currently in the office of the Un Air Force Base. We have commenced the process of retrieving the package from the office and then proceed with insurance documentation before shipment along with our delivery personnel who will accompany the package to its final destination because it's a high-valued package. Hello, Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo. Whoever called me on your behalf this morning at 11:45 and at 11:46 left a recorded message that consisted only of a series of beeps, with each recording lasting exactly 53 seconds. They did not, however, leave any other type of message, that is, speaking words to be recorded for me to listen to when I checked my voicemail. I have attached one of the 2 voicemail recordings for you to hear for yourself. Please instruct whoever it is who might call me that if they call and I am not able to answer and instead they reach my voicemail to leave a spoken message at the beep, so I will know why they are calling. Fortunately, your latest email has brought me up to date concerning the progress of getting the package delivered, and I am delighted to hear that everything is going so smoothly, except for the voicemail messages. Clearly, I am working with real professionals, and I would like to compliment you on the professionality of your entire team. I'm really looking forward to receiving the package. Whoops, I forgot something. It appears I neglected to attach the voicemail recording to my earlier email to you. Please find it attached. Attention beneficiary. This is to inform you that we understand your mail, and we apologize for that mistake. Meanwhile, just to inform you that the insurance process will commence today. A call was just placed right now with a proper voice note. If you do not get it, then there might be some issue from your end. Please, it's important that you are available for a proper call and not a voice note because we need to do a verbal confirmation verification of your details. 1 minute later, I receive a duplicate copy of that email. I guess I'd better remind them about that unnecessary duplication. Hello, Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo. I still am receiving 2 copies of each email you send me. I don't know what is causing that, but if there's a way to send me only 1 copy of each email, then the possibility of various types of confusion would be greatly decreased. When I checked my voicemail messages this morning, there was nothing new from anyone in your office. Because I'm not having difficulties receiving other people's voice messages, I do not really understand how there could be an issue on my end. I do see, however, your notation that your most recent call was made just before you sent your most recent email to me. That would have been at 3:53 a.m. where I am, which is what we here in Florida colloquially refer to as the middle of the night. That is not a time that you should expect me to be available to receive a phone call. I am available at around 11 a.m. Florida time, unless I am out and about doing things, in which case my voicemail receives any messages that I hear when I return home. I do recall that in your email you elucidated, "We will communicate with you via telephone or email as soon as the package reaches on transit for delivery to your country before delivery is made." If you are unable, either for technical reasons or due to differences in our time zones, to call me at a time when it is not the night, then I guess we shall have to rely on email communication for such notification. Will email be sufficient, as you originally had suggested? If not, I do not know what to do to make it so your calls come here when I am awake. Do you have any other solutions, or should we simply stay with email, which we at least know works? No, they really need to speak to me directly. This is to inform you that we have to do a verbal telephone conversation. More so, we send mail twice so as to ensure that you receive it. If that upsets you, we will only send once henceforth. Yes, as we set about communicating with you via email or call, this is when delivery is already in progress. For now, the call part is important for the verbal confirmation of your details. We are sorry if you misunderstood anything. Please give us a call on this number. And they give a phone number. We will wait for your call. Please, it's important that you are available for a proper call and not a voice note because we need to do a verbal confirmation verification of your details. Okay, I'll call them. Well, I'll try. Hello, Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo. A few minutes ago, I tried to call you at the number you gave me. The number just rang and rang and rang. There was nobody saying, if you would like to leave a message now, or anything like that. There was nobody saying anything. I'm surprised that a company that specializes in high-level international deliveries does not have any of these. One, someone answering the company's telephone 24 hours a day. I can call the 7-Eleven store over in Bartow at any time of the day or night, and no matter what time I call, there's always someone there to pick up the telephone and say, "Hello, how may I help you?" That's just a very small store on a corner with only 1 or 2 employees. If they always have someone there to answer their phone, I do not understand why a large company such as yours does not. 2, a voicemail message recording system where a person on a recording says, just for example, to speak to Mr. Burns, please press 1. To speak to Mr. Schreiber, please press 2. To speak to the operator, please press 0. Those are just examples. If you were busy when I called, if no one else was available to answer, then a person on a recording should have said, "Hello, to speak to Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo, please press 9. The 9 is just for example. Or 3, a telephone answering service, which is not a recording, but is real people at another business that you pay to answer your company's calls when no one else is available to answer. If you need confirmation verification of my details, please get them from Mage Jen Kim, to whom I already have provided official documentation, my complete address of where I live, and anything else you need. I do not have the time or energy to keep playing games with telephones that no one answers. If you have some reason to doubt the veracity of the truthfulness of the information I have provided, then I will suggest to Mage Jen Kim that we find some other delivery company to use for this delivery. I have too much emotional stress to deal with already, as well as running around taking care of things all the time. I do not wish to cause you insultment, but if you continue to imply that I am pretending to be somebody else who is just pretending to be me, then we can just forget the whole thing. At this point, Major Kim just happens to check in with me.
Dear friend and partner, I haven't heard from you in over 24 hours. Hope you are good. Hello, Madge Jen Kim. Thank you for inquiring about my well-being. On a personal level, I am trying very hard to adjust to life without Spotty, which I realize will take a pretty long time. Regarding the status of our consignment that is supposed to be delivered to me any day now, I am beginning to have doubts about high-level delivery services' ability to complete this delivery. According to the latest report they sent me, the package has arrived in India and is currently in the office of the UN Air Force Base. But their dispatch officer in New Delhi, India, has sent me a number of confusing and sometimes contradictory emails that contradicted each other. First, he said he would communicate with me via telephone or email before delivery of the consignment is delivered to me. I told him that if he calls when I'm not here, he should please leave a message on my voicemail. He replied that it's okay if I am not available to take calls because he could use email instead. Then he said someone from his office tried to call me twice and left messages on my voicemail, but the messages that were left didn't have any words. Instead, they both contained only a series of electronic beeps or bleeps. Then he said they tried to call me again in the middle of the night where I am and left word messages on my voicemail, but I did not receive any new voicemail messages from them at all. He says there must be something wrong with my telephone system, which doesn't make sense because I have received all the other calls and voicemails that people have tried to send me. And now, suddenly, he says email communication will not be good enough before they can deliver the consignment to me, even though they cannot seem to telephone me, and originally they said telephone or email. I suppose there must be some other real reason for these repeated delays, but I can only make guesses as to what the real reason is, and my guesses might not be correct. All I can say for certain is that they keep delaying the delivery and changing their story about telephoning or voicemails or emails. Do you have any suggestions on what we can do to unclog whatever is clogging the pipe through which the delivery should be flowing smoothly? As always, Major Kim is sympathetic. Dear friend and partner, it's good to hear from you. I was wondering. Meanwhile, I guess there must be some misunderstanding. Please don't be offended or upset with them, as we have work to do with them, and I don't want anything to happen to our package. Try to make yourself available for the call, as requested, for verbal confirmation of your details. Meanwhile, I don't want you to start having doubts so early and talking about them delaying the delivery. Why would they do that? There is no reason for that, so please put aside any and every negative thought towards this deal. The only things that can unclog whatever is clogging the pipe to make the delivery flowing smoothly is that you make yourself available for that phone call for confirmation of your details. Have a great day. Because Major Kim's emails and the high-level delivery services emails tend to arrive in close proximity to each other, I suspect Major Kim might also be Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo, in which case he already would be quite familiar with the latest messages from high-level delivery service. So he gets to hear my take on messages he wrote but which are attributed to someone else. I did not mean to suggest that high-level delivery service is intentionally delaying the delivery on purpose. It just seems more and more as though they are less competent than one would expect for a business that handles such important jobs. I will try to feel more confidence in them, but it is only becoming more difficult to do so. They sent me an email insisting that I telephone them. They gave me the number to call, and when I did, it just rang and rang and rang and rang, and nobody ever answered, not even with a recorded voice. And it looks like they've sent me another email that I haven't read yet, because I always try to read and reply to my emails in the order I get them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're complaining about yet another problem of some kind. I will let you know after I read it. I will keep you fully advised of any new developments that may develop with high-level delivery service. Meanwhile, I hope everything is good with you and your family. Now I read that other email from high-level delivery service. It seems they've encountered a small glitch. Greetings to you. This mail is in regard to the current situation and update we just received from the airport authorities this evening. Be informed that we are having a slight issue with the India government custom authorities at the airport that is causing the delay in delivery of your family property. Be aware that we have been informed by the India Airport Custom Authorities to produce the non-inspection clearance fee for the 2 consignment boxes. The consignment is tagged as personal effects, family valuables, and due to the current insurgence between all countries, the government of India recently passed a bill stating that every package coming through the Middle East has to pay for the diplomatic coverage immunity tag clearance of the consignment trunk box, which makes it impossible for them to check and pass to the consignment through the scanner, and also clears the package from every kind of terrorist-related issues. This is not negotiable, as it's a very strict law that has been passed recently. And the delivery company didn't know the contents of the box, so the India Airport Custom Authorities requested you to pay the non-inspection clearance fee, and the customs have made it very mandatory that all consignment must be inspected and cleared. That is the reason for this email. The sender has paid for the delivery charges to my company, but what the customs are demanding now is the non-inspection clearance certificate that will cover the consignment until it has reached its destination. Presently, your consignment boxes are at our Indira Gandhi International Airport office, waiting for clearance and onward shipment to you. Due to the nature of this shipment as being diplomatic shipment, as stated on your shipment documents, you are required to the below document: NIC Certification Clearance Border Pass, NIC Non-Inspection Clearance Certificate. The non-inspection certification, NIC, is required by airport authorities here in India as a newly implemented shipping policy on diplomatic shipments to your region. All shipments under this policy remain on hold by Indian airport authorities till the non-inspection certification is presented and the India Clearance Border Pass, which shows proof that the said shipment has been officially cleared and successfully completed all requirements before shipment is released and delivered to its final destination, your address. Hence, it is required for the clearance of your shipment here in New Delhi, India, before shipment can be forwarded to you without a non-inspection certification, NIC, your shipment will be opened for inspection and passed through their system scanner by the customs. Your shipment was tagged from the origin as a Family Valuables Property Diplomatic shipment, so it is affected by the above-mentioned policy. After the clearance here in India, there will be no further custom check in your country. That is because of the bilateral relationship between India and your country. If we can complete clearance within 1 business day, the date of delivery to your doorstep will be the next day. We advise you to immediately finish the clearance. If you are unavailable to receive delivery after 2 attempts, shipment will be seized and confiscated, as well as the delivery charges paid by the sender are non-refundable. The customs are demanding for the non-inspection clearance policy that will be covering your package before it can be put on board and delivered to you. The inspection clearance covering your consignment amounts is equivalent to $4,250.87 US dollars. This has been calculated according to the weight of your package, and you will be informed how to make this payment as soon as you're ready to go. We apologize for any form of inconvenience that this development may have caused you. This is non-negotiable as it is a directive from the Customs Department. We will appreciate it if you get back to us ASAP. And attached are 2 clearance forms that somehow prove they're telling the truth. All of this is quite over my head, so naturally I check it out with one of my relatives. I don't think I fully understand all the details of your message. It is overwhelming to me in its complexity of components. I would have expected that high-level delivery service would have been fully up to date regarding the various laws that apply, including the most recent ones. Your company received the consignment boxes only a few days ago. Certainly the new law you refer to must have been announced well before just a few days ago. Doesn't that make sense? I have a cousin, Vincent, who is studying law at Nirma University in Ahmedabad. I asked him to research this new law, but he says he cannot find it listed among recent new acts and rules. Vincent asked me to ask you if you know the new law's article number. If he has that, he said he should be able to find it quickly and then explain it to me in non-legal terms that I can understand. I think my being from Florida makes it seem much more foreign to me than it probably does to you. Please let me know the article number as soon as possible so I can quickly determine the best immediate action to take. P.S. I should explain that I have T.E.S., which limits the amount of word clusters I can process. That probably is contributing to my confusion. It's not very long before Major Kim checks in with me before going out on patrol. Compliments of the day, partner. Please, I want to plead with you to be patient and not get upset with the way things are going with them. I am sure you know quite well that the content of that package is of great value, and these people are private delivery personnel that have been working with several USA Gulf officials to move assets back and forth. It was an old colleague of mine who asked me to make sure that I use them, and I trust them in every way. It might interest you to know that the normal DHL UPS delivery will not be able to handle this package or deliver it swiftly as these guys will do. I know you are going through a lot at this time, but please, my partner, pardon them for whatever discomfort they have caused you. I don't want any argument to occur or exchange of words between you and them. It will put our package at huge risk. Please, I am pleading for you to not be angry. I will be setting out for patrol now, and please do keep praying for me. Have a great day. Alas, I think it's time to fill Major Kim in on the latest problems with high-level delivery service. I trust you have safely returned from your patrol and that my prayers have protected you. As I am certain you saw for yourself in the forwarded email from high-level delivery service that I sent you, suddenly they are talking about difficulties dealing with the India Airport Custom Authorities and that we have to pay a special fee for diplomatic coverage immunity tag clearance of the consignment trunk box, which is ridiculous because, as you know, under international law, it is illegal to charge any other country or entity for official diplomatic shipments or movements. Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo claims this is due to a very strict law that has been passed recently, but he is unable to identify the so-called new law by its article number, which of course every legal law in India is required to maintain. As a favor to me, my cousin Vincent, an advanced law student in Ahmedabad, has fully researched the issue at no charge to us and says no such law exists. Or, as he quipped, "If that is a law, then it must be a ghost or something." He always jokes like that, but he is not joking when he reports it is impossible to confirm the existence of this new law. Trying to deal with Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo is giving me a bad headache. I feel guilty complaining about a headache when you are out risking your life on patrols, but it is a level 4 headache that feels as though it might morph into level 5. Please keep me advised if you learn anything new about the situation with high-level delivery service. And now Major Kim is somewhat upset. Compliments of the day, partner. Please, I am sorry for the late reply. Things have been really serious over here. These Talibans are springing forth again. Sure, you have must heard on the news the current situation. Oh no, what is all this again with the customs? I will email them right away to know why this is the current situation. Now, that is a wonderful touch. He still is on my side. He is going to get to the bottom of this silly problem with customs. But he's also kind of upset with me. By the way, who is Vincent? Why would you tell someone about this deal? Come on, man, you have betrayed my trust. You promised me not to tell anyone about this aside your wife. What is all this? Why couldn't you wait to hear from me before contacting some so-called Vincent? I am not happy with this. This transaction is between me and you, and promised to keep it confidential private until the end. What made you break that promise? I didn't expect this from you. You could have waited to hear from me and not contacted someone about my package. You seem not to understand that the content of that package is funds and not family valuables. Don't screw things for me, okay? I am so stressed, and now you come up with this story of you telling Vincent? Like, seriously? Those two words, like, seriously, are my favorite among all the communiques I've had from a multitude of scammers. Probably he is a little bit concerned, because he doesn't want me to mention this venture to anyone for fear that someone will realize it's a scam and warn me off. If so, he covers that concern with a plausibly emotional reaction to my having shared our secret with some stranger. I'd better reassure him. Hello, Mage Gen Kim. Good news for you. There is nothing to worry about regarding my cousin. Technically, I think he's my second cousin, but he and I are cousins. Anyway, my cousin Vincent is studying law at Nirma University in Ahmedabad, which is a city in India that is known to British people as the Manchester of India, because their biggest product is either textiles or tiles or something like that. Even though we are cousins, he is much younger than I. If people saw us together, they probably would think he's my son or grandson or something. He called me on Skype, but to my telephone instead of my computer, because once the government says it's okay for people to fly to visit to the U.S., he wants to spend his next break visiting the Burt Reynolds Theater, which is in a town, Jupiter, not the planet, not very far away from me. It's probably a few hours away by car, but that's a lot closer than from India. So he wanted to know if I might be able to help get him free tickets to the theater once he knows when he'll be coming. Usually when I talk to him at family celebrations, I joke around, asking him if once he gets his lawyer's license, he'll be able to fix traffic tickets for me. But now he was asking me about tickets, which we both thought was pretty funny. I told him as long as we were on the Skype, maybe he could explain something to me having to do with international law. He said he could try, so I told him that somebody told me India has a new law that requires foreign diplomats to pay a fee or a tax to use diplomatic shipping pouches or parcels, which seemed strange to me because foreign diplomats have total immunity. He said he hadn't heard about that and asked me for the name of the new law, or at least its number, and he'd look it up. I didn't say anything about why I wanted to know or that I was working with anyone regarding shipping something through India. I just explained that I had heard that and thought it was strange and maybe he could explain it to me. But I didn't mention you or the delivery service or the consignment truck or the army or anything like that. I hope you will feel much less stressed now that you understand the facts. And it seems that he is less stressed now. Compliments of the day, partner. Thanks for that mature clarification. I am still trying to sort that issue out with them, as I don't want to get into any kind of argument with them because I know what is a stat key, and I don't want to make any mistakes so that my package won't end up being seized by India authorities. I am negotiating with them to see how it can be solved. Please keep you posted. Meanwhile, how are you managing? Hope you are holding up strong. 2 days later, Major Kim has an update for me. Top of the day to you. Sorry for the delay in getting back to you. As regards the current situation, it's shocking and unexpected. I will start by reminding you that it's just me and you who knows the actual content of the package, and we both know it's not what is written on documents, family properties. So please, I have tried my best not to have any sort of argument with them. That's why I said you shouldn't ask or involve anyone in this, so as to avoid the package going through scanners. I have been answered with reasons why they required inspection authorization for the package, even though I know that you are not supposed to make any payment before the package reaches you. But now that this has happened, try to settle these unforeseen fees to do so. I was informed that the deposited properties have already been recovered from the United Nations Air Force Base in India and currently at the airport with customs authorities. This unforeseen thing became much needed now. The package was labeled as high-value family belongings and has a high-level diplomatic stamp insurance coverage policy that makes it impossible for customs authorities to execute the package through its computer scanning system to see its actual contents. That's why the customs authority at the Indian airport is demanding the no-inspection clearance fee. We have already paid the delivery fee. Insurance fees amounted to almost $18,670 US because it's a diplomatic mail shipping, and the diplomat told me to immediately notify you when he faces this situation. As it stands now, you must help me with the authorization fee for non-inspection. I know you are not supposed to pay out-of-pocket money to this transaction, but as you can see, this is not our responsibility or yours. You shouldn't be afraid of the situation. Everything's fine. The package is already out of Afghanistan, and the delivery company has already shipped it for delivery in your country. There is nothing I can do about this because of the strict safety net here, and I have no more money with me. Please deduct these shipping rates immediately and then take your percentage, and as you know that the package is already registered in your name as a beneficiary, and as such I will not want us both to lose this package, it will be a great risk and a great penalty to leave the package there and in the customs authorities of India airport. The agent said this unexpected clearance fee required by the Indian airport customs authorities is not included in the delivery fee. The agent explained things to me by email, and I think we should act quickly to save the package from the hands of the customs authorities of the Indian airport there in India. I hope you understand. I am sending you a picture of when I was in the office before it was sent for delivery, just for your eyes. I send you all this as proof or the legitimacy of this transaction to assure you that what you spend on this transaction is not a waste or loss. Try to do everything I can to help me pay the fees, as there is nothing I can do from this point. Although I know it was not our original plan for you to spend a penny out of pocket regarding this transaction, but because of this unexpected urgency, it was never planned, and no one knew it from the beginning. But now that it's happened like this, we can't just bend our hands and look, or rather leaving the package in the custody of customs is a very big risk, so I beg you to help me. Thank you for your consideration for working and helping me carry out this transaction until a successful end. I need your prayers. I look forward to your positive response as soon as possible. And he includes 3 attachments which certainly do prove the legitimacy of this transaction. Here's a closer look of the 3 photos. Wow, all that money has got to be worth a lot of money. I guess this is the view from underneath the chest. And finally, a hero shot of the gold chest, all locked up and ready to ship to me. But it looks like we've lost the battle, as I explained to Major Kim. Thank you for attempting to reason with the Indian airport customs authorities and for updating me on the situation. It is disappointing to learn that bureaucrats seem to be the same regardless of where in the world they work. What really bugs me is when they're referred to as public servants, when in fact they almost always act as though we are supposed to serve them. I understand that this unforeseen development is not of your doing or under your control. In fact, it seems to me you have plenty of other life or death things to deal with, rather than something that is, after all, at the end of the day, nothing more than money. Don't get me wrong. I think having money is better than not having money, but when we awaken each morning, If we have been taught well by our parents, our first awake thought is not, I hope I get some money today. In the end, I believe what matters is the personal effect each of us has had on other people's lives from our personal interactions with them. There is a famous Swedish expression that I have seen on the internet at least twice, translated into English, that goes something like this. It's not how many people knew you that is important, it's how many people you touch individually. As I write these words to you, I realize that although I know it was a large amount of money, I can't even remember how much it was. If the Indian Airport Customs Authority's employees are going to be so unreasonable and unfair, there's really not much we can do. I certainly don't have an extra $4,250.87 lying around, and I'm sure that on your military salary and with your family you might not either. I have had 3 big unexpected expenses all in a row, one right after the other. In fact, one of those is almost exactly, not quite exactly, but almost exactly, the same as $4,250.87 related to the funeral of a beloved longtime pet. I could have saved 3% of the cost if I could pay it all right then, but instead I had to put it on my Discover card, so I can pay a little bit at a time each month until it's all paid up. Another one had to do with a hospital visit I had to make. I know you have military insurance, so you don't have to worry about things like this, but I don't have health insurance due to circumstances. Looking back in hindsight, I was encouraged that our financial arrangement would make it easy for me to pay all of those bills immediately. Those bills will start arriving in my mailbox any day now, and I don't know how I'll pay them. If the Indian bureaucrats would just deliver the box to me, I would gladly send them the entire $4,250.87 immediately by using some of the money from the box. But I don't think they will agree to that. It really is disappointing to me, and to you too, I know, to realize all of our work and effort have been wasted. But unless there is some other way to get the Indian customs people to be more flexible, I guess that's just the way it was meant to be by the cosmos. I do not wish to sound hopeless. I will be so happy if you have a solution that I haven't thought of. But if you don't, and I'm not saying that you should, of course, then I guess we should give up thoughts of the money and concentrate on a better future, especially with all the fires going on in California and other states right now. Please continue to be safe in your patrols. I hope that soon you'll once again be surrounded by your loving family, which probably is the most important thing anyway. I hope we all get to meet up in person someday, under less discouraging circumstances. But Major Kim isn't ready to give up just yet, not when there still are things we can do to salvage the situation. For instance, I could borrow the money from someone. Dear friend and partner, I received your mail with its content clearly noted and well understood. Nevertheless, I want to assure you that I can really understand your situation as well as the doubts you may have regarding this, but that doesn't mean you should give up on this transaction. If you have to take out a loan or ask someone for the money, please do so without telling the person why you need the funds, and we will pay double after everything is done because I still don't want anyone to know about this deal until we are finally done. Please try to understand that where I am now, I really cannot do anything. If there was anything I could do, or anyone that could help, I wouldn't be begging for you to help out. I surely do know that you made it known to me from the onset that you will not spend any money from your own pocket, and you might not also have funds with you and nobody wants to help or assist you in any way. Please try your best and don't give up. I also want you to know that most times in life, difficult situations come our way, and due to our present life conditions, we feel and assume that we will not be able to overcome the situations. But if only we give it just one last try and work in progress, and then you shall keep progressing regardless of your current financial situation, because all the world is full of suffering. It is also full of overcoming. I also want you to have this awareness that no matter your financial situation or life status, you should work in progress and keep progressing. All the world is full of suffering. It is also full of overcoming that if you try to take that bold step forward. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. So this doesn't mean you should back off or give up. On particularly rough days when I'm sure I can't possibly endure, I like to remind myself that my track record for getting through bad days so far is 100%, and that's pretty good. One small crack does not mean that you are broken. It means that you are put to the test and you didn't fall apart. Taking a bold step and making a big change in life is scary. But know what's even scarier is when you don't take that bold step. I have sent an email to the delivery people asking them to help us pay the fees and also plead with the India Homeland authorities to give some more time. I await your positive response soon. In fact, I'm positive that I responded soon. As I recall, my response began thusly. I regret if I communicated to you that I have doubts. I know how hard you have worked to make this operation run smoothly, and I want you to know how much I appreciate that. The problem is that I simply don't have the $4,250.87. Due to circumstances, I am deeply in debt. As I think I mentioned previously, I was laid off from my job at the bowling alley more than a year ago. As everyone knows, bowling is one of the 3 industries most affected negatively by the pandemic. Now I don't know if they're ever going to reopen. The big one in Lakeland might be able to survive a while longer because it's bigger, but I doubt they would hire me because first they would want to re-employ their own employees who similarly became unemployed due to conditions. But I've had a great idea that sounds crazy, but it just might work. Many major breakthroughs have been made from crazy ideas, and I think this is one of them. Where I live keeps me isolated from most people. One of my neighbors I always wave and say hello to. The one on the other side of me, however, is someone I have no use for. I'm certain, although I don't have enough evidence to bring to court in a lawsuit, that he is the cause of several very disturbing things that have happened around here. The neighbor on my right is not financially strong. If he were, I'm sure without even asking that at the age of 57, he would rather not continue being forced to live with his mother. She owns the house. And the neighbor on my left is an impossible idea. But here's my idea. In your job, you must have many, many military buddies. All we need is 8.5 of them to invest $500 so we can pay the $4,250.87 fee that wasn't even supposed to be there in the first place. Why should they jump at this offer? It wouldn't be to help us, even if they want to. It would be a guaranteed investment. As soon as the India Airport Customs authorities release the package so it can be delivered to me, I immediately will take out $1,250 to send to each of them. That's $1,250 each. That's a 250% ROI, return of investment, from their small $500 investment. That's better than any bank or 401k or anything else. 250%. You would collect the investments from each of the 8.5 investors, your buddies, who of course trust you because you depend upon each other to survive the horrors of war that each of you faces every day. Just a very short time later, only a week or so, I would send each of them their total $1,250 of profitable investment activity. Or it might be better for me to send you all 8.5 times $1,250 equals $10,625, and you could give each of them their $1,250. That way, they won't need to know anything about your partner because they would be dealing only with you. It's a win-win for me, a win-win for you, and a win-win for your military buddies, whom I'm sure would be happy to have that extra money, either to spend at the PX or to send back home to their sweethearts. You won't be risking anything at all, and because we know we'll have much more money than that when the package arrives, your buddies will be risk-free also. I believe it was John Yossarian, I'm not sure of the spelling, who famously said, "War is what happens when language fails." Although I'm sure they weren't planning this, the Indian Airport Customs Authorities has provided us with the opportunity to solve this problem with the language of capitalism. I just made up the language of capitalism to make my point. If you offer this chance to your military buddies, I'll bet your only problem will be having to say no to so many of them from whom we don't need their investment once the first 8.5 have signed up. I assure you that I give you my solemn word in promising to send you to give to them the $10,625 immediately after I receive the package. You'll be able to guarantee your lucky buddies that their ROI will arrive almost immediately after they make the investment. It should be an irresistible offer to any of your fellow soldiers who, while serving their country, feel so lonely and far away from home. Now they can really do something for their families. What do you think? Well, Major Kim thought my idea was amazing. Dear friend and partner, please, you don't have to apologize for anything. I understand you, and trust me, I believe your situation as well. Your idea was amazing, but unfortunately I wish things worked out that way over here with military bodies. I refused to seek help from any of them as of now due to some personal reasons. Meanwhile, the delivery team seems to be coming through, and a very old colleague has decided to help too. But funds from my old colleague will have to be sent over to you, and then in return, you will send over to the delivery team in India. This is because I don't want my colleague to know anything about this deal. I hope you understand that. I await your positive response soon. Hello, Major General Kim. I am regretful to hear that my idea is not practical for this situation. I have to admit I am flundered about your old colleague sending the funds to me. I understand that this operation needs to be kept confidential, but doesn't that mean you would need to make up some sort of fictitious story to explain why he should send me so much money? I don't want to become involved in a plan that includes tricking someone. I understand you two are old colleagues, so you might have a long history of playfully playing clever pranks on each other, but I don't have that history with him, unless it is someone I already know, which I think is not likely. I also am just so tired, with a number of personal difficulties during the past year that I won't bore you with, but which have touched me heavily with sadness, illness, and devastating financial stresses. Bankruptcy, home foreclosure, just today, cancellation of my last credit card for too much overdue. Each day I grow more tired and less energetic, and the stress is piled so tall I cannot get out from underneath it. I will admit to you that drastic thoughts of fatal suicide have entered my thinking and not let go. Positive thinking and putting on a happy face and looking on the bright side of life are good for grandmother's sayings and pretty greeting cards, but the truth is, life is not a greeting card, is it? I am not seeking sympathy or offering excuses. I know you have invested such a tremendous amount of time and work into this, and to be completely honest, I think you deserve to find a new partner who is better equipped to face whatever needs to be faced. I hope you understand. Well, he kind of understands, somewhat. I understand your situation, and please don't give up on life, but this doesn't make send find a new partner. You think it's that easy? Have you forgotten this package has all of your details? How do you think it's just easy to change details? Hello, Mage Gen Kim. I do not wish to cause extra problems for you. Have you succeeded in talking sense into the Indian Airport Customs authorities? I don't exactly understand how your old colleague would be involved. Without making you feel subjected to the third or fourth degree, can you tell me who he is, how you two know each other, etc.? Part of what confuses me is why would he send money to a stranger, me, without knowing what the whole thing is about? I assume I would know in advance the name of the person who would be thusly contacting me, right? As I say, I do not wish to cause extra problems for you or let you down. This all just seems to have become so confusing, which I did not expect. Suddenly there's more trouble emanating from the India Custom authorities. This is to inform you that after a very long time of waiting on you and your family members to pay for the clearance fees of your package containing family properties, which you people have failed to do, the customs authorities then decided to scan your package, and to my surprise, after the scanning of your consignment by the India Custom authorities, they found out that your consignment is full of money. Cash, I mean U.S. dollar bill, and without any further delays, I was instructed by the India Custom authorities to take the consignment boxes over to the Manifest Bank of India, WBI. Kindly contact the bank details below immediately for the transfer of the funds to you. Manifest Bank of India, WBI, contact person name Mr. Amit Aman, and a contact email. It is required of you to contact the bank as soon as possible, and please don't contact us anymore as we are not responsible for your package anymore. Several days later, Major Kim sounded kinda down. Okay, guess the package has been discovered and its contents have been known. I hate to admit defeat, but it sounds as though the jig is up. Yes, I was told everything had been turned over to some bank in India. I wish we had found a way to get that fee paid before they decided to scan the package. All that work, mostly by you, of course, but also some by me, for nothing. Well, we tried. Better to have tried and lost, etc. I'm sorry that we weren't able to make it work." When Major Kim replies, he sounds quite disappointed, and perhaps a little bitter. "Compliment of the day to you. I do hope that you and everyone in your family are doing fine. Meanwhile, it's so unfortunate that things have turned out to be this way, such that the package had to be scanned and they realized it contained money. I did plead with you to help me clear the fees required by the customs, but you bluntly refused. But it's okay, and I will not blame or fault you for that. All I can say right now is that you should contact the bank because it's your details that are on the package and you are the only person eligible to claim the funds. Please contact the bank and follow up with the transfer accordingly. Do keep me posted." Maybe I'm being oversensitive, but I thought parts of that message are what we on YouTube call passive-aggressive, and I feel obliged to call him on that. I must take issue with your statement that I bluntly refused to help you clear the fees required by customs. That implies that I had a choice and chose to refuse. In fact, I do not have those funds at my disposal, which should not have been a problem because when you first contacted me, you declared you don't need to worry or bother about anything. All I need from you is to just be the end receiver. Had you said, "Oh, by the way, you also might be expected to pay $4,250.87 in customs fees," I would have respectfully declined any involvement because I do not have $4,250.87. Although I have not said anything, all along I have wondered why you tagged the consignment as a family treasure property. If it did not qualify as such, why label it thusly? I have no way to explain to a bank why the consignment is labeled that way, and I am not willing to tell them some fake, made-up, fictitious story by way of explanation. I also am uncomfortable with all the secrecy. For example, your former colleague who was going to send me money without knowing why he was sending it. I have invested so much time and effort in this, trying to be available for telephone calls in the middle of the night, etc., with nothing to show for it but delays and secrecy. I do sincerely wish you and your family peace and prosperity. Finally, Major Kim gives up. Okay. But 12 minutes later, he can't help himself. Why do I have to disclose my private and confidential dealings to my old colleague? Don't you know how delicate this deal is? Anyways, this is not the time for banters, now that the package is with the bank. Please do contact them and follow up with the process, as I cannot do so. It's your name on the package. I wait 9 days to see if there will be any more contact from Major Kim or any of the other players I've encountered. Then, as instructed, I make contact with Wanifest Bank of India. I have been instructed by Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo, Dispatch Officer, New Delhi, India, to contact you for the transfer of some funds to me. I have been given only your name, your email address, and the name of your bank. I was not given a case number or any other identifying nomenclature to specifically identify the case in question. Perhaps some of the following information will help you locate the funds at issue. Dr. Mr. Hamza Alfredo works for High Level Delivery Service, and his email address is partially obscured in this screenshot. I had been instructed to contact him by Maj. Gen. Kim Chang, member of a Special Operations Group, SOG, which is a division of the United States Central Intelligence Agencies, located at the U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan, although probably they have left the U.S. Embassy along with everyone else. Maj. Gen. Kim Chang's email address is. Please feel free to contact either of those individuals for more specifics regarding this shipment. Thank you in advance for intervening to ensure the safe delivery of the shipment to me, which already has been prepaid in advance before it was shipped. 10 days later, Wanifest Bank replies, Mr. Amit Amin is the only banker and the only business person I've encountered who writes his emails with justified type, which makes it look more like a sloppy form than a communique. I am asked to provide a bunch of personal information that could be helpful in an identity theft and some basic bold type information about their chief financial officer, plus my favorite part of this fake bank, its slogan, always giving you extra. When I reply, I have run out of patience, and I think it showed. I wrote to you about this issue 10 days ago. Already I have wasted 3 whole months, first with Madge Jen Kim Chang, and then with High Delivery Service. Are you new at being Chief Financial Officer? I can understand if it's your first week or something, but expecting a valued client to wait 10 days for a reply from you is very much kind of a drag. Especially with the electronic internet, it's so easy to fall into the habit of responding as fast as greased lightning, as the Scottish expression goes. I have been assured that you already have all of my pertinent and relevant necessary information. Just fill in the blanks with the information you already have been sent on my behalf by High Delivery Service. The shipping costs were paid for long ago, so please show Madge Jen Kim Chang and High Delivery Service how a professional operation such as yours can act naturally and stop this ridiculous experience of riding around in a carousel trying to get my long overdue shipment. The reply from their chief financial officer didn't resemble any bank communications I've previously seen. This is the entire email. Top of the day from the management of Manifest Bank of India, WBI. We request you to fill the required details yourself. More so, we are not aware of whatever you might have been through in the past, and we also don't have any shipment to send you. All we have is boxes of cash to be transferred. Fill the form and follow due procedures. My response is polite but firm. It required quite a bit of effort for me to gather all that information already for High Delivery Service. All of the original documents I had to locate from which to extract that information now have been returned to their respective places. Please simply use the correct information that High Delivery Service already gave you. After all, I am the customer. It is not expected for the customer to do all that paperwork. That's what banks, such as yours, are paid for. You said, we also don't have any shipment to send you. All we have is boxes of cash to be transferred. It is the boxes of cash I was referring to when I used the word shipment. Perhaps it is not used this way in India, but in America, a box of cash being transferred commonly is referred to as a shipment. I believe, however, there is only supposed to be 1 box of cash for you to have delivered to me. It sounds as though maybe you have another customer whose name is similar to mine, but probably not exactly the same. I guess it would be okay with me if you sent me somebody else's box of cash in addition to my own, but I'm sure your other customer would get really upset. So just send me mine, including the correct info you already have received from High Delivery Service. P.S. I went to your website and saw that you offer wealth management services. How does that work? I had hoped my interest in wealth management would provoke further interest in Rob McClellan, but they didn't take the bait. Most likely they had no idea what I was talking about. But I really did go to their website and see a tab for wealth management. Pretty impressive looking site, huh? When you follow the careers path, you're invited to apply for a job at Manifest Bank. The invitation concludes, "We look forward to hearing from you," and comes from the bank's Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director, Emily Blake Tuvey. I find myself wondering if Emily Blake Tuvey is well known in banking circles. Well, Google certainly knows her. A search for her name brings 319 results, representing 319 banks, of which Emily Blake Tuvey is the Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director. I know what you're thinking. How can one person be the Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director of all those banks all over the world? Well, it appears that Emily Blake Tuvey is fairly young and no doubt energetic, and she's surrounded by money, and she's so successful that she is featured on the cover of this anonymous magazine. All of the bank sites are identical. They even offer a live help chat in 100 different languages. While I was there, I decided to ask again about their wealth management services in Norwegian. To my disappointment, it turns out there is no live chat person, not even a chatbot. After all those ups and downs, the shared confidences, and the mutual bonding over dogs and family and war, I kind of miss hearing from Major Kim, and I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of misses me too. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel so you'll know whenever I've added a new Scambaiting email video. If you'll be kind enough to comment below on your reactions to this video, I promise to make sure Rob sees it. It's been an honor to share this Scambaiting adventure with you. In sincerity and on behalf of Rob McClen.